Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. Okay, so how many times has this happened to you? You think of a loved one who passed away, and at that moment, their favorite song pops up on the radio. Or you remembered how much they loved cardinals, and seemingly out of nowhere, a red cardinal lands on the tree right in front of you. Coincidence, or is that a loved one sending you a message of reassurance? Our guest today is a psychic mailman of sorts. He delivers those messages from the other side.
I got the sense of a hanging.
A girl in junior high committed suicide.
He's talking about the two of you, something in Leo.
My daughter was a Leo, born in July.
What's with swans?
As I was passing on the right-hand side, there was a family of swans. So everything you're saying is just so poignant and so right on it.
Welcome the author of Evidence of Eternity and Never Letting Go, and he's working on a new book. Both of those books are a tremendous help to people dealing with grief. Welcome the psychic lawyer, Mark Anthony. Hello there.
Thank you, Deborah.
All right, welcome back to Great Day Houston.
Thank you so much.
I said you were like, the psychic lawyer, you are the mailman, psychic mailman, you're the psychic Indiana Jones. You actually do all kinds of things where you reach that connection. You travel the world for spiritual places.
I do. In my work, I have a background not only just in law, but also in history, archaeology, philosophy, and theology. And so I've traveled to spiritual and mystical sites around the world, from temples in Japan and Southeast Asia to South America. I even attended an exorcism in the Amazon when a witch doctor was performing it. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right.
So
there are people who are watching who can't get enough because we all want to know. We almost, out of curiosity, how many of you have lost somebody close to you? Right? Everybody. Okay. But then there are those people who say, this is the devil's work. What's going on here?
Well, people fear the unknown, and unfortunately, there's people that like to pick and choose lines out of the Bible to say mediums are not of God and this is evil. But there's also lines in the Bible that say that if your neighbor works on the Sabbath, he shall be put to death. And I'm pretty sure nobody's going to do that, and please don't. And there's also passages in the Bible. There's one in the book of Leviticus that sets forth the standard for truth as in spirit contact. There's also Corinthians 4 through 12, which talks about we all have gifts from God, being discernment of spirits and prophecy being two of those gifts. So it just depends where you look. But the thing is, Deborah, death is the great unknown, and we're afraid of it. And the thought that who and what we are lives on beyond the human body is not only embraced by religions, but now science is beginning to prove this. And so that is helping to remove the fear of this unknown.
Yeah. All right. Near-death experiences. When I had a brain aneurysm that burst, my brother had passed away years before. He was killed by a drunk driver. And I just remember in kind of like that no man's land that my brain was in, I met him and we sat and talked. And I saw that whole white light thing. And then he said to me, okay, you have to go back because I'll see you later. My brother used to always say, see you later. And he said, you have to go back. And I remember coming back.
Correct. I remember the first time you described that to me. Near-death experiences are far more widespread than commonly known. And I speak frequently as a keynote at the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And over the past 40 years, they've been documented, and we're seeing it doesn't matter what religion you are. I mean, atheists have these, but when they return, they're no longer atheists. And what happens is when the body dies, the consciousness, or the soul, as you and I would refer to who and what we are, leaves the body. And this also proves that consciousness survives physical death. And there are stages that you go through during an NDE. There's the feeling of floating, then there's going into the light, going through the tunnel, then encountering deceased loved ones. And in your case, it was your brother who'd been on the other side, and he spoke to you, and it was a coherent experience. My NDE occurred when I was 4 years old, and I stopped breathing, and I was in an ambulance. And it's a very long story, and I wrote about it in my new book. But I remember being catapulted out of the ambulance and looking down at it and seeing that there were numbers on the top of it. Now I was 4 years old, okay? Yeah. And I'm like, why are there numbers on the top of an ambulance? And then now I know that helicopters are able to spot police cars and ambulances that have numbers on top of them for identification purposes. And then I go into this beautiful white light, and I receive a message from what I can only describe as God.
Yeah. All right. Are they starting to line up?
Oh, they are.
They are. Okay, so there's other people in here besides us. Okay, I'm going to mention that you're going to be here tonight and tomorrow night when you're going to discuss evidence of eternity and also kind of walk people through the process of healing when they deal with a loved one who's passed over.